In that class, we had seen what is MVC and ASP.NET MVC, and in today's class, I'm going to just show you how you can use ASP.NET MVC to do your own application here in ASP.NET. Okay, so let me just quickly begin, and while the project is creating, I'll give a little bit more explanation on that. Let me start with the new project. Okay, and then let me choose ASP.NET web application again, same thing, but when it asks me the second time, I will change the web forms to MVC. That's all. So same thing what we've been doing so far, ASP.NET web application using .NET framework. Let me move on to the next. Let me just name it as MVC demo. Okay, and please note this is the last but one program in our record list. Okay, so I'm going to use a file upload also in that, so that we'll have a comprehensive ASP.NET MVC project. So I'm going to name it as MVC demo. Let me click on create. Okay, and look at this screen. This screen will tell you which project template we are looking for. Okay, first one is empty, which does not have any content in it. Okay, web forms is a template already created by ASP.NET. We just start using already existing master page and child page kind of structure, and we start working with it. Third one is MVC. You can read the description there. It automatically gives you a simple definition, a project template for creating ASP.NET MVC application. It allows you to build applications using the MVC, model view controller architecture. It includes many features that enable fast test-driven development for creating applications that use the latest standards. Okay, so I'm going to choose that and remove this configure for HTTPS because I'm not actually hosting it. So anyway, MVC, let me click on that and click on create. Okay. Okay, I think it's working now. Anyway, if this kind of issues happen, just restart Visual Studio and check, guys. If it works, then it is fine. Otherwise, we'll see what is the issue. All right, so as it's just getting created, please remember, as I told you earlier, it divides your work into segments like model, view, and controller. So I'll just quickly recap what these three things do. Number one, model. The model folder normally holds all that is logical about your project. Whatever logic you have in your website goes inside the model. Okay, and then whatever you're going to display to the user, what the user is going to see is going to be put as view. And there are two types of view engines, as I've discussed in the last class. One is ASPX, which is traditional and legacy, and the second one is razor based syntax, which starts with the symbol of @ and I'll be using that extensively in this class. I'm not going to take ASPX. I'm going to take only razor as view engine because that's something new. All right, so that is view. Third one is controller. Controller is the one which the user actually gives request to, and the controller decides what to do, which view to call, which model to take up into picture. All those things are mapped and monitored or managed by the controller itself. Okay, so let me first run this project, and let me just see what output I get by just creating an empty MVC project. Okay, so we have chosen an MVC project. Let's see what is the output, and then let us find out how this project is structured. Then we can start with our own program. Okay, so a simple typical website has been created. Okay, please note this website does not have any logic as such because it has just home page, about page, and about contact us page, which does not demand much logic, right? So there is no model as such in this particular program. All right, first let's see the output, then I'll show you the folder structure, and let's understand how a typical ASP.NET MVC project works. Then we will go back to working it on our own. Okay, so this is the by default page which you get by using ASP.NET MVC architecture. It looks similar to the previous one what we've been doing. Home page, there is an about page, there is a contact page. Okay, and you have some jumbotron, and then there are 3 divs here. Okay, it's a simple typical website, but then let's see how it is structured in the Solution Explorer. You've seen so far how it has been structured, but when it comes to MVC, it is a little bit different. I hope you guys can see the screen. Let me just zoom into that particular folder structure. Just have a glance. Okay, so let's start with the first most important thing, controller. There is a folder called controller, then there is a folder called models, and then there's a folder called views. Okay, then you have scripts which will hold JavaScript code, content which will hold images and CSS and etc. Other things and all will be kept in content folder, and app underscore data for your database related files. Well, normally SQL DB or something like that we'll be putting there. All right, so with all these things, this is the structure which is created. So when you call this particular thing, what will be happening first? Let me open the controllers folder and see what is there. Inside controllers, there is one CS file called home controller. Inside model, nothing is there because I don't have a logic in this program yet. Okay, it is just a simple home, about, and contact. That controller can directly call the view. Okay, and in the view, I have a controller called home. So there is a folder called home, and inside that you have 3 different files. I hope you guys can understand the file extension by now. It is called CS.html or VB.html if you have chosen VB. Okay, what is this? This is basically the syntax which starts with at. Okay, you can see that icon which denotes that. It just means that it is razor based syntax, not just ASPX. Okay, so you don't use traditional ASPX here in this kind of a .cs.html file. Here you rather use razor code. Okay, that's what we are using. I'll talk about partial view and all shortly. Let me just go through the project first. Let me open home controller first. Okay, let's open that controller. It's a very simple file. Okay, there are this is the file, guys. I hope you can see the screen. Okay, so it's a class called home controller which extends from the base class called controller. Simple. Alright, inside that you have three methods. Let me just focus only them. Alright, there are three methods here. I hope this makes sense to us, right? There is index, there is about, there is contact. When the page run, okay, and you saw the output, you had only three pages there. Home page is the application name when you click, the home page, the traditional one. Then you have about us, and then you have contact us. You had three pages. For each page, there is a specific method being created inside the controller. So when you call home/index, this will be called. Okay, what will return? An action result will be returned with the view with this name. This is the way in which it is written, guys. I'll repeat it again. Just listen carefully here. When you call home slash or just index, or if you just call home, by default index will be called, right? So just think about it. If I call home, your local host, whatever website name you have, /home belongs to your this particular controller, and inside that home, if you call index, or let's say if you called about, okay, when you call about, what is happening inside that? It just puts something inside the view bag and returns view. Okay, which view will be returned? You can just find out which view will be returned by just right clicking on it and say go to view. Okay, so please note I am in controller, and right now I don't have any logic involved in my program. I'm just telling return view, already written code this is. I just want to understand what they have written so that I can write my own, right? So I'm going to right click on this and say go to view. Okay, so Visual Studio will take you to the corresponding view. I wanted to notice the file name, guys, about.cs.html, about.cs.html. So here, what is the method name? About. So how will you call this? Home/about. When you call home/about, controller will give the control to this particular method. What will this method do? It will put some message inside the view bag and return a view which is called about. So about.cs.html will be rendered to you. So when you run the program, if you see that this data was available in that particular page. Okay, so that's what, if you want, you can just revise it once again. And next time, if you click on contact, what will happen? Contact method will be called. When contact method is called, something else you are putting in the view bag and you're returning a view. Let me open that view and see what is there. Here, contact. You can see that this is their address, and there is support and marketing at example.com, something like that. They have a simple template which is available there. Alright, so this is how your normal typical structure which you just created exists. But then that is not enough for us, right? Because there's no model here, there's no logic involved, because it's just a simple static page. Alright, so that simple static page is divided into two segments and it is written like this. Now you might ask that this would have been easier if I just asked write like an ASPX file and used a master page kind of a concept. Okay, yeah, yes, that is fine for a simple typical web form, but not for a complicated enterprise level application. So for an enterprise level application, as the complexity goes higher, it is very wise to divide your work into three different segments. Okay, please remember this. With that in mind, let me just move on. Let me just find out how that output comes. Let me run the program once again. Please note, I'm going to just I'm going to open about.aspx. I want you to notice the URL simultaneously. Since I've already shown you all the code, let me just show you how the output works. So first time I'm coming here, please note nothing is there on the URL. Okay, this also you should understand. There is nothing there in the URL. No, I told home / something and all, but nothing is there in the URL. For that, you need to understand something which I discussed during that. In the theory, we had kept a concept called routing. Okay, so let me just open up all the folders which are here, and let's get to a specific folder called routeconfig.cs. Okay, how the default route is configured. It's already written here, and this is called your routing, guys. This is the code which is expected to be in routing code. Okay, it's already created there. You can create your own route also, but by default, what route is created here is this. Okay, so URL, how will the URL look like? Controller name / which action in the controller you want to call / whatever ID you want to pass. Okay, please note, this is it's not mandatory, it's optional. All right, so this is the way in which your URL is supposed to be. Let me just click on that and show you how what I mean. Let me click on contact. Look at the URL. Okay, I wanted to just focus on the URL here. Whatever name, this is your website name where you're hosting, doesn't matter. This is your controller's name, and inside the controller, the method's name or the action's name. Which action would you like to perform through the controller? That name. So this is what you are writing as a route. Okay, it need not be a physical file called contact.cshtml, because you can never call a CSHTML directly on the URL. Alright, because it has to be rendered through your MVC. You cannot call a physical file through this. This is not a physical location. Please note. Okay, this is not a physical location. Why I'm saying that is, the file name is home controller, but you are calling just home. Okay, and the method name is contact and the file name is contact.cshtml, but we are just calling the method. You are not calling the file. The file is called by the controller, not by you. Okay, and the file itself is not rendered to you. Rather, the file has been called by the controller, and whatever the view renders to you is translated into HTML, and then it is displayed to you here. Which means basically when you open this page, it looks like a simple static page, not a dynamic page, but it is actually dynamically generated. Please keep that in mind. Let me go back to the route once again. Okay, so by default, it's written here. Okay, please note this is the structure by default, guys. You can change it however you want. Structure is controller name / which action in the controller / in case you have an ID, you can pass that ID, because ID is optional. Okay, please remember that. Now, by default, okay, if I don't give a controller name, what controller will be called? Home controller will be called. By default, if I don't mention an action, which action will be called? Index. I hope this is clear to you guys. This is how the routing happens, and that is how my page came to me as an output here. Okay, but when I go back to home page, nothing happens here. Let me click on home, no changes. When I click on about, you see controller name, action name. Controller name is home, action name is contact. Controller name is home, action name is about. Okay, so this is how our MVC structure works so far. Alright, so now what if I had a model, I had a logic, then I'll have to put it inside my models folder. I hope this project structure is clear to you guys. Now let me go into one more thing before we stop that thing. You see the code which you see in about.cshtml. This is the code, this much only. Okay, please note there is something called viewback.title, viewback.message. Title is already set by you saying about. So you get the title of this particular page as about. You can see that here, about. Okay, that is there. Let it be there. But then here you see there is something called viewback.message. What is printed here in about? Your application description page. Use this area to provide additional information. Something like that you have put. Okay, so please note, use this area to provide additional information is coming from that page only. So that is easy for me to map. Okay, so here I can find that. Alright, but then where did this come from? Your application description page. That is not there. That is coming from viewback.message. Where was it set? Let me go back to the controller here. Your application description page. Alright, so when that page is running, okay, and there is a title, there is a message, and this much only is there. But when you see the output, there is a header. There is one nav bar here, home, about, contact, there is a nav bar, and also at the bottom there is a footer. See 2020 my ASP.NET application. There is a header and footer, but there is no master page because there is no ASPX here. Okay, so where is this coming from? That we need to understand. Let me go to Solution Explorer. This is a concept which I discussed in the PPT called partial view. I guess most of you would remember this. Okay, I told you there is an example. What I gave was that login. Okay, when you log in, there is a view shown that sign in and register. Okay, once you have logged in, it shows welcome, your username, and then it gives you an option called log off. And this block you want it everywhere. So you use something called partial view, and most of you would remember that the file which indicates a partial view is denoted using an underscore in front of the file name. Okay, so I wanted to look at here. There is something called shared. Okay, there is already something called home. That is my controller's name. Please note, view is created with the controller's name. Inside that there is method names are having, each method name is having its own file name. Alright, apart from that, there is something called shared, which has something called underscore layout.cshtml. Please note the underscore denotes it's a partial view, which means it can be reused. Okay, let me open that. You can see the HTML starts here. Okay, there is a body tag and there is this nav bar here. Okay, the nav bar which has links to home, about, and contact. I'll talk about all these add symbols a little bit later, but this is Razor syntax, guys. That's what we have been discussing. Apart from wherever you see Razor, it is basically simple HTML only. There's no confusion here. It is basically HTML. Okay, but wherever you want the logic to be involved, then you bring in at and you put your razor code. So there are three things here: home, about, and contact. There are three list items, which is nothing but your navbar menu. Okay, that's all. So this is how your layout works. This is partial view, which means it can be reused. So I can see there is one other method called view start.cshtml. If I open that, it just says that the layout for all my applications come from views slash shared slash underscore layout.cshtml. Now, if I don't like it, I can also change this code into however I want, but basically let's just use whatever is there. If you want, you can just go and change the layout design or code here. Okay, so you see that my ASP.NET application is coming from the master page, but when you run, you see this title is coming from my view, and this my ASP.NET application is coming from my shared or partial view. Okay, so please understand that that's how we are this particular project is already structured. Now moving on, let's create a project. Let's do a CRUD operation using MVC.NET. So how do I do that? So let me stop the project running, and by the way, this project I'm going to take it a little bit more in detail, guys. The thing is, first of all, please understand that I am going to change or take this project, what I am doing, as the last and the last but one. Okay, because one project I have told that you'll have to use entity framework and do CRUD operation using entity framework. Okay, and in MVC. The last one is using a shopping cart. So I thought I'll merge both of them, not for you. You have to do it separately, but I'm doing it in the same project. The reason is to avoid wastage of time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take products as a demo of CRUD. Okay, so I'm going to take products as an example for doing CRUD operations. And then what I'm going to do is once that product thing is done, you will have to do, I'm doing it with product, you have to do it with some other data. Let's say a student or employee or book or something like that. Okay, but please try it on your own. That's why I'm doing it using product. You should use it something else, not product. Okay, but the product part will come for your final project, with the one which has shopping cart. Okay, so since I don't want to repeat two times, I'm going to do it both in one shot. Okay, so first let me create a simple database. Let me just go to Solution Explorer. By now I am aware where to add my database. I know app_data. Just right click on that app_data folder and click on add. You see that you will get suggestion directly called SQL Server Database, because those are the files which are expected to be there: XML, SQL Server, etc. So I'm going to just choose SQL Server Database. I'm going to name it as product DB. Okay, let me click on OK. And once it is created, let me create a simple table. Okay, so let the Server Explorer open. Okay, it's added now. Okay, so once it is opened up, let's create a simple database inside that, or table inside it. Already database is created. Let me right click on the tables folder and add a new table. Okay, by now these things should be very much familiar to you guys. So anyway, once you add a new table, please do make sure that you give the table name appropriately, otherwise it will remain as table. So I'm going to name it as TBL products. Okay. And the columns what I'm going to keep here is product ID, product name, product price, quantity, and the picture of the product. Okay, I'm going to do that also, so that those who are doing projects might be, I don't know whether you'll use MVC, but still, I'm going to just use an image also, so that we use our MVC for image-based applications, so that I don't need to do two different projects. Okay, and let me just begin. Let me start with prod_ID, which will be an integer. And also I would like that to be auto increment. Done. Second thing is product name. So I'm going to put prod_name, which will be a varchar. Okay, please be very careful of the data type what you're giving. If you are mistaking it or you're doing a blunder here, you'll have to go back and refresh or retake your entity table once again. Okay, let me just do that quickly. Product name. Next one is product price. Okay, price, I'm going to keep it in real world entity. It's going to be a decimal, not integer. Okay, so and decimal, I'm going to say 10-digit number with 2 precision. Okay, so decimal 10, 2 I've given because I want a number. It can be a number which will take 2 decimal values. Okay, so and that I think nothing of my product will be going more than 10 digits in the number, so I'll just put 10 comma 2. Okay, that's a decimal. Next one, prod underscore let's say quantity, I'll put qty. Okay, and let that be an integer because quantities will be in whole numbers. All right, then last one I'm going to put prod underscore pic. Okay, which is going to be the picture of your product. Okay, one picture just to show like a thing. But then if you in real world, what we'll have is we'll have a separate table for pictures. Okay, why I'm saying that is one product, like for example, if you see Amazon or Flipkart, one product might have 6 or 7 images. All right, so you cannot store all in one table. So what we do is we put all images in another table, and we'll map with the ID of the product. Okay, that's foreign key, primary key thing. All right, so we'll create a relation and then we'll map it because one product might have 6 or 7 images. All right, so here I'm assuming that there's only one, so I'm doing with that particular thing. All right, so next one, what should I store it here? All right, so let me just give you both as an idea. One, you can use as I told you in the previous class of file uploading itself, you can either use var binary, which is equivalent to blob in MySQL. All right, like storing a file, binarily large files. Okay, you can put them inside here called as var binary. Please note var binary is also there. All right, so but if you use var binary, the issue also I have discussed. Okay, it's very easy to manipulate and program because you need not bother about the location and all. But when you use a file location, when you're saving it in the hard disk, then you have to be very careful of the file location. Alright, that's one tricky thing, but we can easily bypass that. So I do not prefer var binary because it will consume a lot of space in your database server, which makes your database server a little bit more inefficient. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use varchar. Okay, but the file name can be like 50 characters or something like that. I can give that, and I can make sure that it allows null because picture cannot be made as mandatory. But if you want, we can keep it as mandatory. All right. So that's it. That's all I'm going to create. Let me just update my table. Okay, and once the update is done, let me create an ADO.NET entity data model. Ready. Okay, so this is done. Let me move on. Okay, so table is ready with these are the structure. Okay, let me repeat it once again quickly. There is product ID, which is an int, primary key, identity, name, varchar, product price, decimal, quantity, integer, prices, picture is varchar because I'm only going to store the file name here. Nothing else I'm going to store here. It's going to be just the file name. Okay, please remember that. Now, normally what we do is we can also give something called default value. So most of you would have seen, if at all you are not giving a profile pic when you're creating an account in a website, they will give you a dummy picture, which will just be like a placeholder in which you'll see a shadow of a person. Okay, that's something which we give as dummy. We can do that also if you want. We can just give default as dummy.jpg, and we can put a dummy.jpg in our project always, so that file will be coming if at all the user does not give an image for a product. Okay, that will I'll leave it up to you guys. Anyway, so my project structure is done. A table design is done. Let me just right click on my project. By the way, here anymore we'll not just add it to a project. Okay, so now I can categorize them. I put app underscore data inside, I put the data inside database inside app underscore data folder. Now I have to create ADO.NET entity data model. All right, so looking at the name itself, you can understand where I should put this file. In a typical ASP.NET website, you can put it wherever you want. You can just put it on the Solution Explorer directly, all right, or you can put it under app underscore code. That's your wish. But then when it comes to MVC model, as soon as the name you hear, you can identify that where I should put this. Okay, I'm going to put it inside the models folder. Please note, because what I'm going to create is called ADO.NET entity data model. So I'm going to right click on the models folder and add an ADO.NET entity data model. All right, please note this is it's inside the models folder. Okay, is it compulsory? Okay, I would prefer you put your models inside the models folder here because it makes sense. Okay, I'll show you how and when. Okay, but then let me just add this entity data model. Let me name it as product DB model. Okay, this name will not be used for many purposes, but just for your understanding. Okay, and I'm going to create it from the database, which I have already added to my my project, product db.mdf. Let me move on. Let me use the latest version of entity framework. Move on. Okay, and please note this is something which you guys are forgetting: pluralize or singularize. Okay, so what we are doing is it's already enabled. You need not do anything here. All I'm saying is whatever you are adding from the table, Okay, if you have kept it as plural, see for example, I've kept it as plural, products. When it comes or converts this into an entity, it will pluralize it or singularize it. It's already in plural, so it will singularize. How will it singularize? TBL product singular. Alright, so I'll show you that. Let me click on finish. So please remember, the entity class might be TBL products, but the name of that entity, what you are representing here in area.NET entity data model, is nothing but TBL product singular. Alright, so if you had given as TBL product in the table, here it would become products. I hope that is clear to you guys. It just goes vice versa. Alright, remember that. And once this is ready, my model is ready. Okay, so what will be there in this entity data model? Number one, you will see a class diagram, which will just represent how your database is or table is structured. One. Second thing is, basically what we have done is we have converted, okay, we have converted a table into a C# file. Okay, the concept of ORM, if you remember, one instance of a class is equal to one row in the table. So here what I'm doing is I'm converting a table into a C# file. So what will be the structure? The class name will be TBL product. The properties inside that class is prod ID, name, price, quantity, picture, etc, etc. Okay, so click on this and then go to its properties, find out the name. I hope you guys can see it here. Alright, so be very careful about this. Entity set name is TBL products only. It is not changed. Set name is that. But then the name of this class diagram, what you are talking to, is TBL product. It's singularized. From plural, it has become singular. If you had given the vice versa, product here, it will become products here. Okay, that's all. It doesn't make a big difference, but as long as your ID gives you suggestions, you are on the right path. Okay, that's it. Alright, so I have done, that model is ready. So I'm going to close it off because I don't have anything to do with that model as well as the table design. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another controller, because I'm going to do CRUD operations for this particular file, okay, for this particular product. But then the thing is, I need to make sure that how do you access my particular product page. Right now you are going to the home page. I want you to access the product page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a controller. Alright, please note, I've already created a model. View I will create after I finish the controller's work. So let me just right click. Already there's home controller. Let me not touch it. Let me keep it for all these static pages. But now all product related things, I'll create a product controller. So let me right click on the controllers folder, add a new controller. Okay, please note, it asks you a lot of things there. Alright, I'm going to discuss two things in classes. Alright, one is MVC controller with read write actions. Empty is pretty much self-explanatory. It's just an MVC file, which is MVC controller, which is just empty. But this would already give me read write actions. Code will not be written. Please note the description is right next to it. MVC controller with actions to create, read, update, delete, and list entities. Okay, it's called scaffolding. I've already told that in the slide. Okay, please do go through that the theory part, okay, to understand what and all I'm telling here, because that is essential. All right, and with that I told there is something called scaffolding within MVC. Okay, I'm going to use a third one later. Once I finish all my whatever programs I'm supposed to do, then I'll do, because the third method what you see will not even require coding. It will automatically be generated. Okay, it will just create a full thing with razor view, everything. But here it will only create a controller. You will have to create the view. Here controller, view, both will be created because you already have the model. Alright, I'll show this later guys, but today's class I'm only going to choose read write actions. Let me click on add. Okay, please note how the file name is structured. Please remember this. It's not like it's an option. It is mandatory that your controller's file names should have the word controller in it. I told you this when we learned Java, if you remember, servlet. I told you to keep the word servlet as it is, but it is not compulsory. You can give whatever name you want, but it was a standard that we give my servlet, hello servlet, add servlet, insert servlet, like that we kept on giving. Alright, like this here, but it is not optional here. It is mandatory that you have to keep the word called controller. Please note what word I can change. I can change the word which is before that word called controller. So here I'm going to remove that default and put product controller. Okay, so the controller's name is product. Please remember that. Let me just click on add. So it is doing that word called scaffolding, and after the scaffold has been generated, you can see how a file is getting generated here in ASP.NET. Okay, so ASP.NET MVC will generate a full scaffolded project structure for you. Okay, let me just go through only the file names. Don't bother about what is, nothing is there written inside because you have tried the code. Let me just go through the names which is given there. Okay, just look at the names, guys. Starting with the first one, index. Pretty much straightforward. Let's not bother about it. Then let me go to create. Let me not bother about details. Let me look on create. Okay, and then you have edit. Then you have delete. Okay, so index will be retrieving and showing all details. This is specific to one person's detail. Okay, this is to create a record. This is to submit a create form. Okay, this is to edit a record of a particular person and submit that particular form of the person. Delete a record of a particular person. Okay, and like that it goes on. You already have a full structure of controller ready for us. All right, so what we are going to do right now is that we are going to create by the way, there's nothing written inside that method. Please note, it just returns views. Okay, nothing is written because you have to write the logic. All right, so logic in the sense what controller should do here. Okay, from where the controller should get data, which model to access, which view to call. All right, so controller controls everything, guys. Okay, from here you'll be calling the model to do actions, and also from here you'll be calling the view which has to be rendered. So now let's see index. Okay, before I go to index, I prefer that we'll do create operation first. Okay, what do you mean by create? To create a particular record. Right now I've not inserted one record also in that server. So let me write it here. Let me ignore all these two methods. Let me just go to create. Now I wanted to notice there are two creates written there. Okay, please notice that there are two create methods written there. One, they have given a comment also. I want you to understand that comment meaning. Okay, get, and the other create takes post. All right, and also something else is also passed along with it. Now comes your knowledge of HTML. All right, by default, whenever you call a form, by default, the method of passing data is get. All right, by default, unless you go and change it into post, it is going to stay as get only. I hope that is clear to you guys, right? So when you create a particular or when you call a particular page in HTML, by default it is get request. But let's say, for example, I'm showing you a form in which you are supposed to enter like product name, product price, quantity, etc., etc. And after that, you would like to submit it. So when you click on submit, the same page only is going to get called. All right, but then that time that page will have some data to be passed. Same page will be called. Page name is create.cshtml. But then first time when I'm opening, I've not entered any data. First time when I'm opening, that uses get. But when I click on submit in that create form, you are getting me data from the collection of form collection. I'll be replacing it now. Okay, but you will get a data which is given by the user, and you are passing it to this particular function, and you have to do something here also. Okay, that I will come to that shortly. But before that, okay, before we write create, I think it's better we start with a simple code of retrieval. Okay, I'll write retrieval code, but since there is nothing to retrieve, I'll not run the program. I'll just write the code. We'll run it once we have finished the insert also. All right. So now look at this, guys. Okay, I'm going to call index page. Okay, just think that index page is like display.aspx. It has to retrieve everything and show it in one page like a grid view. But here I am not going to use a grid view because this is not ASPX. I'm not going to drag and drop controls and start writing code, but rather I'm going to use the typical way of deployment. Okay, so let me just write this. First, before I write the code here, let me right click on it and say, or let me just write the code, then I'll go to it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I want you to give me all what you have got from the database. Now I want you guys to remember that formula again and again. If you want to represent one row in a table, you have to create one object of a class. Okay, the class here is TBL product. You know that already, right? So if I want to talk to one row, I have to create one object of TBL product. But then I want n number of rows. What should I do? I should create a list of TBL product. I hope this is clear to you guys. Okay, if you want one person's record, it is just create an object of TBL record. Very simple. But if you want n number of users and n number of records from the table, you can't create one object, but rather you will create n objects as a list. Okay, so remember that, and let's look at this code. Okay, I'm going to engulf this entire code inside a using block. Okay, and please note in MVC it will not be automatically pulling, because in ASP.NET whatever we have done web forms, all files are available in the Solution Explorer directly. So you wrote using product DB entities immediately here. Here it is not possible because product controller is here and you are trying to access something which is inside models folder. So what am I supposed to do? You have to import it. So I'm going to write using my project name. I think my project name is check MVC dot models. Okay, when I open that, there is nothing more, which means all are removed or the namespace are imported from there. Okay, why I'm writing this, I'll explain to you in a minute. I'll just delete this and I'll start typing product DB entities. Nothing is coming. Okay, the reason is because I'm missing that namespace. Because I am inside product controller, I cannot directly access something which is inside a model folder and inside that particular folder. How do I access it? By importing that namespace. So call my file, my project name dot models. After that is done, let me go back and type product DB. You see that now I get suggestions. Product DB entities, DB is equal to new product DB entities. So whatever I write here will be using this object temporarily, and once I come out of that loop, this will be gone. The error is because I'm expecting a result from you. Okay, let me write that immediately. Return view. Okay, what view will be returned if I write this? Index view. Index.cshtml, which is not yet been created. I'll create it shortly. Alright, before I go to the view, I'll have to pass some data to that view. Okay, which means I need to show what and all other records you're going to retrieve. How do I do that? Okay, please note, I'm going to create an object of TBL product. But if I create one object, I can only pass one record. But this program right now, it demands me to retrieve all the records. How do I do that? I create something called list of TBL product. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys. List of TBL product. So how many records can this hold? N number of records. Okay, so I'm going to put it as product list is equal to, I'm not going to write a new list because I'm going to retrieve it from the database. You already know the code from something in db.tbl products, select data and convert this entire thing to list. Simple. Okay, so you have got whatever is there in the database right now, convert it into a list and store it into product list. So when you are returning the view, return with the product list. Okay, so I'm going to just say product list, return with the product list. So I'll pass this data to the view and the view has to display all the details which are there in the product list. Okay, so now where did the model come into picture? Whatever you have written here, product DB entities, TBL product is actually from the model. I hope this is clear to you guys. Controller is here and controller is calling this action called index. And in this controller, through this index method, controller called something which is available inside models. Okay, and the model is already created by the system. Okay, normally you are supposed to create it, but here we use the system to create it. All right, and then I'm returning that list of data back to the view. Now I have to create the view. Let me right click anywhere inside this method. Okay, and say add view because I don't have a view already. So let me click on add view. Please note the view name comes as it is as the function name or the method name. My method name is index, so view name also comes as index. Please note it says template is empty. I'm going to create without the model. I'm going to create the model. Okay, but please note there is other templates also available which I'll discuss in another class. Okay, but here you see there is something called use a layout page. This is in other words master page. Okay, leave empty if it is set in razor underscore view start file. I showed you a view underscore start CSHTML file in which it automatically redirected you to layout.cshtml, which means it will be added without me doing anything. Let me click on add and a scaffolding result will give me this answer. Okay, a simple thing here. Now, what is this? How is this created? Okay, let me go back to Solution Explorer. Let's just look at that views folder. In views, already I had home controller. In that you have about, contact and index. Now I created a new controller called product. So there is a view created inside product folder called index.cshtml. That is what is displayed to you in front. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this model, okay, what you have passed to me from the controller, okay, which you have passed to me from the controller. I'm going to take that. You are passing a list. Please remember the type, not the name. This name can be changed. What am I passing? I'm basically passing a list of TBL product. Okay, so I'm going to fetch that here from the model and I'm going to display that using HTML. Okay, let's do that. For that, I'm going to use Razor syntax. Let me just put at and type the word model. Please note, not capital letter, small letter M, model. Okay, so it should come like this, and then write the project name. And okay, by the way, you want a list, right? So I'm going to put list of. Okay, please note, what is passed is what you have to receive. I am passing a list of TBL product, not this name, guys. This name is for your understanding. System only thinks it as a the data type. The data type is list of something. What is that something? TBL products. But I cannot type TBL products here. Reason is, once again, where am I writing? I'm writing it inside index.cshtml, which is here. You are trying to access a model which is available inside a different folder. How do I write it? By now you would have understood. You should call the project name, then call models. That's it. Okay, and inside that you have two things. I want you to understand why I said models have two things. Just have a glance of what is there inside that models. There are two things there: product DB entities, which is a class which holds all the tables in it. And in my case, I have only one table. So you see TBL product being written there. Okay, so I'm going to take TBL product because I'm going to create a list of TBL product. All right, so what I've passed from here, I have received it here. Now all I need to do is I need to call capital letter model. That will be the standard which I'm setting it here. I'll take it here. Okay, here instead of index, I'll write list of all products. Let me write like this, and inside this I'm going to create, by the way, I cannot drag and drop control. I can, but I can write it in simple terms like how we have been using so far. I can just write table. Okay, and inside the table, let me just put bootstrap because I already have that table hyphen bordered. Okay, and I'll also put table hyphen striped, and let me put table hyphen hover. Done. So this is my bootstrap code, guys. You can put it however you want, whichever table you like. Okay, you can use that syntax. Now after this, what I'm going to do is I need to display all the products which are available. So let's do that one by one. So first thing is just like how we are done in the previous classes. Okay, I'm going to put a table row which will only hold the headers. In how you are done in JSP servlet. Okay, I'm going to write th. Please note, whatever I'm writing is basically HTML only, nothing else. Okay, starting with I'll put it as product ID, and I'll copy that, paste it below ID1 name, and then price, product quantity or something, and then the image. Okay, so I'm going to put product name, and I'll put it as price of the product. Okay, and product quantity. The last one is product image. I'm only putting this much. Please note, this will not be modified by anything. Okay, because it doesn't matter whether you have database or not, this will be shown to you anyway. TR. Okay, and inside this, what do you want? I want how many ever records are there in that table. I want that many rows to be generated, which means you have to write it inside a for each loop. All right, so for loop, at least the loop is required. So how do I bring in the loop? Just put at and type your C# code. So I've just written for each var item in. Okay, var, let it be there. Item in. What is the collection here? Collection is inside the model. That's all. Okay, this model, what I've written here, represents whatever you have passed from the controller to me. Okay, now I'm representing that in a capital letter M, and I'm keeping it here. So anymore, I will be only accessing item, not model. Remember that. With that in mind, let me write the TR. And inside TR, I need to give for product ID. What is the product ID you have got? So I'll put TD and put at. Okay, call that item, which is the range variable here, dot. You will see all suggestions which are coming. I can just call product ID. Okay, similarly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste it 2, 3. One is for name, another one is price. This is quantity, this is image. Okay, so this much is there. So let me just go and replace those words. Next one is name, next one is price, this one is quantity. This one is not going to be displayed. Please note, in the database I have stored it as image file name, but then it is going to be created with or when I'm displaying it, I cannot just display the file name. Rather, I want to display the image, okay, which is coming from the file name. So before I display or go to the images part, let me create a folder in my project where I'll store all my images. Please note there is a folder called content. I'm expected to put everything inside that, but to make it a little bit more sophisticated, let me create another folder inside that content folder, okay, and name it as images. Now I'm going to put all images inside this folder, specifically content images. Alright, so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this, what is already there. Let me write it in 2 lines so that it's much clearer. I'm going to put an image tag. Okay, src is equal to, I will write. Okay, so let me just press Control space. It will show me my project structure. Inside that, let me choose content. Okay, and inside content, the one which I just created, images. Okay, so let me go back here. Images. Now it is not going to be a specific file. The file name is going to come from the database. So I'll put at item.pic, the product pic file name, whatever you have got from the database. So whatever before that what you've written is just HTML. Okay, so this is where my programming comes into picture. I just put at. That's all. And alternate text, let me just show the product name. So I'm going to say item.name. That's it. And also every image will be different size. So I'll specifically say width is equal to 100 and height is equal to 100, so that it will come like a thumbnail in my table. Otherwise it will take a lot of space. So I'll just restrict the size to width as height, width and height as 100. That's it. So my code here is done. Okay, please note this is Razor syntax. Wherever you see that highlighted at is where you have written Razor code. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys, but I'm not running the project now because no point in running. It will just, it will not show you any output right now because nothing to show. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next one, create. Okay, so let's go to create. First, create what we have. I'm going to ignore details for a minute, guys. I'll do that later. Okay, I'll come to create. Now in create, what do you want to return? Okay, it is very simple. It is pretty much basic for us. All I need to do here is I've already imported the models, so I can directly call the object, because what am I trying to get from the user? Okay, I'm trying to get one record from the user. If I want to represent it in code, one record of a product, how do I represent it in code? I'll create a new object or a new instance of the TBL products class. An instance of the TBL products class is equal to one row in the table. So what am I trying to create? I'm trying to create, okay, I'll just write TBL product. So basically what am I passing? I am passing an object of the class called TBL product. I hope this is clear. You can write it in 2 lines, but I just made it into 1 line so that it's simpler for us. Okay, this is not to retrieve or do anything, guys. This is to make sure that the view is aware. Okay, it's very much aware of what you are typing in that text box. Okay, I'll show you in short. Okay, I'll show you why I've written this in a minute. But then please do understand what I'm passing. I'm passing an object, okay, of the TBL product class. If I create an object of that particular class, basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a new row in the table. Basically, that's the idea what we are trying to do. So let me right click here and add a view. I'm going to add a new view, which is called create again. I'm going to leave everything as it is. Click on add. So now let me go to Solution Explorer. Okay, let me open that view. You can see that I have a product view folder. Inside that, right now I finished index, then I've come to create. Okay, so let's go to create.cshtml. Now what logic does it hold? Okay, I'll again write model. Model has passed me something. What has it passed? It has passed the table name. So I'm going to call my project name in models this table, which means this is the class which I have passed. Look at my controller. I have passed a new object of TBL product. So basically what type of data did I pass? TBL product. That's all. That's my model. Okay, so let me give this one saying add a new product. Okay, now it comes a little bit tricky, guys. Please understand why I'm writing this. Okay, those who have done file upload, you would remember that not in ASP.NET web forms, previous one, JSP servlet or PHP, if you have used file upload, you have to mention your form to be post, not get. You cannot use get while uploading files. Get is not recommended, or it is not possible to use get while you are uploading a file. You have to use post. Not only that, you'll also have to mark something called encryption type. or encoding type as multipart / form hyphen data. I hope most of you remember that multipart. Okay, so in order to do all these things, Razor has a better syntax of creating a view. Okay, so let me just show you how Razor takes care of that. Okay, let me write a simple code. Before I write the HTML part, let me write another code here. Okay, let's start with @ okay, I'll put @ and 1 second. Yes, okay, @ I'm going to use some of the inbuilt methods which are there in Razor. Okay, I've already discussed that in the PPT, but then let's use it. Okay, HTML dot begin form. Okay, please note, this is how you mention or indicate to the system that I'm going to create a new form. All right, so now this is how I write it, but then I have to engulf all the code what I'm writing inside that form. In plain HTML, I would have written something like this. Okay, form / something I would have written like this. But instead of this, I am going to ask the system to take care of it by telling, using that form tag, write the entire block of code. So I'm going to write using, okay, please note the structure what I've created. Inside that, I'm going to write HTML dot begin form. Okay, using HTML dot begin form. Now, please note it is a method. Even though it does not look like HTML to you, this will be translated or converted into HTML shortly. All right, with that in mind, let me just write what are the parameters to be passed to begin form. Okay, this is an inbuilt method here. Okay, so let me just write it. And first parameter you need to pass is the action name. Okay, which means when you click on the submit button, where am I supposed to take you? I'm supposed to take you to the same controller, which is product controller. Action name is going to be, I don't care what is the parameter you pass, name of the action is going to be create. So what should I write here? Okay, within first double quotes, write the action which you are going to call. Action is create. Second one, what am I supposed to pass? I'm supposed to pass controller name. Okay, my controller name is product. Please be very careful with the spelling as well as the case. Okay, third one, what is the method name you are going to follow? I'm going to write form method dot post. These are all not HTML, guys. This is plain C#. Okay, and the last one, do you have any other extra attributes to be added to my project? Yes, you have. So I'll add it as a new object. Okay, please remember it is ENC TYP. Encoding type is equal to. Okay, do not forget this. This is very, very important. Spelling mistake here or any mistake here would also be a problem. Okay, slash I think it's form hyphen data. Yes, this is enough. Okay, so what have I written here? Okay, basically what I've written is form action is equal to, you have to go to a particular file, but since you are using MVC, normally we write action is equal to some file name .aspx or some file name .php or some file name .py. But then here you have to call a controller. So action method inside the controller. So how do I call it? I put it as begin form, call action method called create inside the controller called product, using the method of form called post. Also, one extra parameter you are passing is that the form data what you are going to process is multipart / form data. This just indicates that you have a file upload control in your form. That's it. Okay, please remember this. I hope this code is clear to you guys. Let me move on. Okay, inside this, what am I going to write? Okay, I'm going to create a simple form. For that, I'm going to use table, guys, just so that it looks structured. I'm going to use a HTML table. Okay, let me just put a simple class as just table. I'm not going to put anything else. If you want, you can add later. Okay, so let me start with first row. Okay, what will be there in the first row? I want enter product name. ID I'm not going to take from the user because ID is auto increment. So I need one TD which will say enter product name. Okay, now comes the advantage of using MVC or ASP.NET MVC here specifically. All right, you need not create a control. You can ask the control to be created based on the model. Okay, this is why I passed the model to you. Based on this model, I can ask the system to determine which control to put there. So look at the code what I'm typing. I'm going to write @ HTML dot editor for. Okay, and you need to pass a few parameters. Let me tell you what those parameters are. First parameter you need to pass here is for what model part. Okay, model is a big thing, right? In that one, which data in the model do you want me to create a structure for? So I'm going to write model goes to model dot, okay, which one are you creating this editor for? Product name. So I'll just put product name. This is the data. Okay, second one I should pass. I think this is enough actually, by the way. I can just stop with this. I can just say create an editor for this particular model. But the problem is you have not applied any CSS here. If you want, you can also apply CSS by just passing another parameter. Okay, so let me just write comma. That's called additional view data. Okay, so I'm anyway just putting it. This will be generated, guys, but I'm typing it because you should understand how all these things come into picture. I'm going to put it as HTML attributes. Please be very careful with the spelling and the case. It's very sensitive with that. Is equal to new. Okay, I'm going to type only once, guys, and then I'm going to copy paste, so don't worry about it. Okay, and here I'm going to put at class is equal to form hyphen control. That's what I wanted to apply, so I'm adding this. Okay, so that's it. Now what I've done here is I've not put input type equal to text, name equal to something, nothing. Okay, all I've done is I've said HTML to create me an editor for from the model. Specifically, I'm looking for model dot product name. Okay, so name of the product, what is the appropriate input control, take that. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to copy this row and paste it 2 times below. One is for price, the other one is for quantity. Okay, so let me change the words here. Product price. Okay, this editor for model dot model price. Nothing else I'm going to change. That's it. Okay, here next one, product quantity, and here I'll write product QTY. Okay, nothing else to change here also. All right. So I've taken the name, I've taken the price, I've taken the quantity. What is next? Okay, what is still pending here is the image. All right, please note image is a file upload, and typically model assumes that it comes as a binary value, but I don't want a binary value. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to write typical HTML. All right, please be very careful of what I'm typing. It's just simple HTML. I'm going to say choose a product image, something like that. Okay, and I'll put one more TD, in which basically what I'm going to type is just put input type equal to file, name is equal to, please be very careful of the file name. The same name you have to take it here in your controller method. So I'm going to name it as posted file. No value, I'll remove that off. Okay, and also I'll add one CSS class. Okay, so I'll say class is equal to form hyphen control. That's enough. All right, now the last line is very simple. Just put I'll put a TD, and let me just put an input type equal to submit. I'm not going to put anything else. Okay, submit, name is equal to something, it doesn't matter. Okay, but I'll just put submit, value is equal to, I'll just say add product. That's it. Okay, also I'm going to put class is equal to btn. Please note this is just plain HTML, btn hyphen success. And also I'll put because I'm going to put only one, I'll put call span as 2. And also I want this to be in the middle of the page, so I'll say text hyphen center. These are all CSS only, nothing to do with ASP.NET here. Okay, whatever I've done so far, that's it. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys. So this is just the design, guys. Okay, so when you click on submit, what will happen? Please note the entire code is engulfed inside a using form tag. So the entire thing is now inside a form tag, inside which you have a table, inside which the controls are going to be generated based on what you have in the model. Okay, now even though it will not work after submitting, but let me just run create. Let's see how the project comes out as the output. Then we'll understand why this editor for works. Okay, so just to indicate that your project is aware and your form is now aware what data you're talking about. Okay, so I just want to show that. Let me run the project. Okay, I hope you guys can see the screen. Right, look at this is how my project is getting created. So I have controller called product, an action called create. I called it, and you see that this is how the project has been rendered to me. Now please note, I had not given input type equal to text, input type equal to decimal, input type equal to number, nothing like that. I didn't give anything. But you see, an editor has been created for me. Let me just go to the source of this page. Okay, you can see here. This is the form tag which is generated. I did not type it, it was generated. Form action is equal to product slash create, which is nothing but my controller name, method name, action name. Then encoding type is multipart slash form data, method is equal to post. But it was written, I wrote like this. It is translated now into simple HTML. Okay, so I got this as the output. Now inside that I have a table tag, and then you see every control has been generated. Input type equal to text, input type equal to number. Okay, so all these things are automatically changing here. Type equal to number, here type equal to text, but the value is 0.00 because it's a decimal value which has two two values at the end. Okay, so and moving on, you have a file. This is what I typed. Whatever I typed as HTML has not been translated. It's come as it is. Okay, but whatever I gave through HTML code has been translated, and I got this output. Okay, now if I click on submit, it would not work because you have not written code for that. So let me go back. Let me write the code for that. Let me stop the project. Now let me go back to the controller, and please be a little bit careful of this code, guys. This is going to be a little bit tricky. Okay, so what I'm going to write here is here. Look at the code, guys, what they have written. Okay, they have written something like a small try-catch block. The reason why they have written a try-catch block is because you write the insert logic here, and if everything is successful, I'll take you to the home page to show me whether it is inserted successfully or not. Otherwise, it'll be still in the page. You have to write your own error handling or exception handling mechanism. Okay, I do not prefer try-catch till you finish your project, because I want to see what is the error which is happening and what is the exact exception which has happened. So with that in mind, let me just come to this form. What is passed to me when you click on the submit button? Okay, when you click on this submit button, what is passed to me? The thing which is passed to me is an object of TBL product. Okay, because you are entering one record, right? So which means you are passing one object of TBL product. So with that in mind, let me go to product. I'll remove that form collection. I'll say you are passing me one product information. That's it. So whatever the user has submitted in that form, I'll be getting it here. Okay, please note only text data I'll get. What about the file what you have sent? Okay, that file I have to take separately. So I'll put comma HTTP posted file base. Okay, there is a separate class for that. It serves as the base class that provides access to individual files that have been uploaded by a client. So I'm going to take the base, and please note the file name what I'm supposed to give there is the same name what you have given here for the file upload control, posted file. I'm going to use the same word here. Please be very careful of what I've put there. Okay, it's very essential that you use the same name for the input type equal to file control there also. Okay, now let's go to the try block. By the way, I'm writing inside try block, but I recommend you not to write it when you are trying something on your own. This is proven because what I'm writing will work, so I'm not bothered about the try catch thing here. But in case you're testing out something, please don't put try catch till you finish your project successfully. Then you put try catch. Okay, so let me begin. First, what I'm going to do is, before I even go to the database part of it, let's see whether I can upload the file. Whatever you have put in that folder, let me see whether I can upload that file. Once I have been able to upload the file, then I will add the record to the database. Otherwise, I will come to the catch block and come out. If the file is not uploaded, then no need to do anything. Okay, so first let me write a simple thing, string extension. Let me get the file extension of the file which you have uploaded, because I'm going to do a small validation on the server side. I don't recommend validations on the server side, but this I can just simply tell you. Okay, so whatever file you have posted file dot, I want to get the file name. Okay, please note I want to get, I'll only get the file name, but I want the file extension. All right, if I call like this, I'll get the file name, but I only want the extension. How will I get the extension? Okay, all you need to do is just like the previous program, already I've done this, but anyway, using system.io, okay, which has a class called path. All right, so I'm going to use that and write path dot get file name or get extension. You have just to get extension, there is a method, and where is the file? File is posted file dot file name. That's it. Now what will happen at this point of time? If you have passed hello.jpg, .jpg will be stored in extension. Okay, so I'm going to write a simple if condition which will start with if extension is equal to or dot equals, because since it's a string, I can write extension dot equals dot jpg, okay, or anyone, okay, not to and, because anything is fine, either jpg or png. I'm only keeping two extensions right now, dot equals dot png. If this is the case, if extension is either equal to jpg or if it is equal to png, you have to do something. Otherwise, what am I supposed to do? Okay, you can just put an error message back to the user. That's also possible. You can just write return content. Okay, you can I think, yeah, you can write it as content. Okay, and you put the content. You can just say you can only upload jpg or png files. You can just put this error message and come out. No need to do anything. Okay, upload will not work, but this message will be shown to the user. Okay, and that is also possible. You're just passing one content. You can pass it as HTML content like this. That's also fine. Okay, now in case the user is doing everything right, which means he has uploaded a .jpg or a png file, what am I supposed to do? I guess by now you know how I did the previous file upload thing, because the file name what you upload might be same name. Like for example, I upload hello.jpg, you also upload hello.jpg. I'll put it in the same folder, which means my file might get overwritten. So in order to avoid that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file name. So I'm going to create string file name, okay, is equal to, and inside this what I'm writing is like how WhatsApp does. I'll just put img hyphen, concatenate that with date time dot toString. Okay, I'll take datetime dot now dot toString. Okay, and I'll pass the format. Format I want is first 4 letters should tell the year, then I want 2 letters to indicate the month, then date. Okay, then I want hour, minute, second, then I want 10,000th of a second. Okay, that same thing. So it's a unique number which will get generated every time, or you can use the random also. Concatenate that with file extension, which I've already got called extension. That's it. Now what will happen? Imagine that you uploaded hello.jpg. Okay, I'll get extension as .jpg, and since this if condition is satisfied, I'll create file name as img hyphen, today's date is 2020, okay, 12 21 322, okay, whatever second it is, whatever numbers it is, .jpg will be created. So hello.jpg will be converted into a different file name .jpg. I hope this is clear to you guys. All right, so I've created a file name. What is the next thing? The next thing is the path where you want to save this. Okay, so let me create another string for that so that it's easier for us to maintain. Save path. Where do you want to save? That I'll call server dot map path. Okay, map path from where? Okay, please note how your system automatically puts one tilde in front of it, and then I'll put slash, okay, content, because that's the folder. Please note where I've kept my images. I've kept it inside my project structure, content slash images. So I'm going to put content slash images slash. That's it. This is the location which I want you to find. So in this location, store this file. How do I write that? Call the posted file and then call save as. Same method what we used for file upload control. And all I need to do here is concatenate both of them. Save path, concatenate that with file name. Done. Okay. By now, I guess you understood what has happened. Okay. So I've added that to the file name. All right. Now, the product what you have created, please note the file name has not been added because in the design, you only have name from the model, price from the model, quantity from the model. This is not from the model. So you have to add that to the model by just writing one line of code extra. I'll put product, that's the object which is passed here. Please note the object which is passed dot pick, the product pick is equal to, I just need the file name. Where will I get that from? I already have something called file name. Just pass that. That's it. Okay, so that is done. Now the last part what I need to do here is add this record, the object what you have passed to my database. How do I add it? It's very simple. DB, okay, so I need that product DB entities. So I'll write using product DB entities. Let me name the object as DB is equal to new product DB entities. Now all I need to do here is call that DB and call the TBL products and then add this object called product, which I just passed through the form. Last line, save changes. Don't forget this. Save the changes. That's it. Yes, I think I need not write anything more. This is enough. Alright, so this is it for the code, which is uploading file. If there is no file upload, this is the line of code. If there is no file upload involved, only this line is enough. This is the extra code what you see is because I am uploading a file. Otherwise, this line is more than enough to add a new record. Okay, so let me run and let's check whether what we have written so far works. Okay, so please note, since I was on the controller and I clicked on play, it took me to the by default controller. So now I have to go / product. Okay, I have already called that create, so let me just call create here. So it will show me a product page like this. So first thing I'm going to give is a product name. So let me just give some name, and product price is something. Okay, decimal value I'm giving purposely. Okay, I'll add quantity. I'll also add one image. Okay, so let me just add one thumbnail something. Okay, and click on add product. Okay, if it is successful, it should take me to the next page, which is the index page. Why did it take me to index page? Last line, look at the last line. In the try block, last line is redirect to action called as index. Okay, so it took me back to the index page. In index page, what I got is the table which I have already written here, index.cshtml. I hope this is clear to you guys. Okay, the table structure on the top, you can see. Okay, so what I've written here is the product ID, product name, price of the product. That's the table row with the header. Then this data is coming from the database because I have iterated through that particular image, and I got the output like this. So whatever image I have uploaded is already here. Okay, so this is how we retrieve as well as I have added a record. Now let me do the remaining two also so that we can quickly wind up this program. Okay, so what's next? Okay, the next thing is that when you click or when I give another option here called edit or delete or something like that. Okay, so let me add one more data. So, but there is no hyperlink proper. See, I'm here, I'm not able to add a new record. So let me just add a, like say a link here at the bottom, which will take me to that page. So how do I do that? Okay, since it's HTML, I need not stop the project. Okay, I can just go to index.cshtml. And after this table tag, I can just add a razor tag called html.actionLink. Okay, I'll just add a action link, or if you want, you can also put it like this. I'll put a href is equal to, okay, whichever is simpler to you guys. Okay, so I'm going to write it as click here to add a new product, or I'll just say add a new product. Okay, and when you click on it, what should happen? That I'll do later, but let me just write a simple class btn hyphen primary, something like that. Okay, so I have a simple href class. Now I wanted to take me to through the controller, not like you cannot directly give go to create or create.cshtml like that. I cannot type. That's not recommended. So what should I write? I write razor code. I'll call url.action. And I need to pass parameters. First parameter I'm going to pass is the name, the action, what you want to call. Okay, I want to call create. Where is that located? Okay, that is located inside product controller. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys. That's all. This is enough. Okay, if you don't have any other parameters, because it's just taking me to the next page. I'll just save the project. Let me come back here and refresh it. You see a small button has been added here. When I click on it, it takes me to the create page, okay, where I'm going to give some data and I'm going to add a record. So I'll just click on some record, I'll just add 3.25 and say 200. Let me choose another image. Can click on add. So now here, so 2 records have been added and both are there in the database now. Let me just go back. Let me stop my project. Let me show you the images folder in my project. Okay, let me open that images folder in File Explorer path. Okay, there are 2 files there. Please note the file name. What I uploaded is totally different, but what I got here is IMG-2020 12 is the month and 21 is the date, 32650. Okay, and then the fraction of a second. Okay, so that's how my file name is getting generated. So that file name is created by me through the code. So it's working perfectly. Let me move on. Okay, so now I'm able to retrieve data. I'm able to add data to the table. Okay, now the next thing I need to do here is to edit. Okay, so how do I edit? Let me just open that index.html or the index.cshtml. From here, I'll give you 2 hyperlinks to go to the next page. So let me add another header. Okay, let me put th. I'll put it as operations. Okay, and let me add one more td here. Here I'm going to give okay, let me create a hyperlink. Okay, I'm going to do 2 types of buttons there, guys. One is using just razor tag. One is because I need 2 buttons, right? Edit and delete. To show you the difference between both, I'm going to create one using razor syntax alone and the other one using HTML syntax also. Okay, I've already used a HTML syntax here, including only the action as from razor, but I'm going to show you both. First one, I'm going to create edit button using just razor. Okay, let's call that at html.action link. Okay, there are 3 parameters. First, you have to pass what is the link text. What will be the text on that link? Edit. This is what I want. Okay, please note this is not the method name. This is just the link's text. What text will be there on the hyperlink? Okay, I want the word called edit. Second thing, what is the action you want to call? That is also called edit only. All right, because I want to call the edit function, which is here. I'm going to call this method in the controller. So I have written the word edit. That's my second parameter. Third parameter is the controller name. Controller name is product. Okay. Fourth parameter is HTML attributes. Okay, so let me pass some HTML attributes so that you can, let's say, it's not compulsory, guys. This is enough. What I've written so far is enough. But what I'm adding is to show that button a little bit, to show that hyperlink like a button as well as with a different color or something like that. Okay, so if you want that, what am I supposed to do? Okay, so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to write a new HTML attribute. So I'm going to put at new HTML attribute, okay, is equal to, I'll put the same way what I typed the previous one, new at class is equal to, I'll write as btn hyphen success. Okay, you can write like this, or you can write it as a normal HTML. I'll show you how both works. Let me just run this and check if it works. Okay, but the problem is you can't just go to the edit. Just like that, you cannot go to the edit. You also have to pass one more thing. Let me just show you how it is rendered. Then we'll come back to the part. Okay, so the one which I've run is a mistake. Okay, when you move your mouse here, you see that the URL says edit question mark length is equal to 7. Same thing comes for the second, which means both buttons look the same and work the same. That's wrong. Okay, I want this button to be specific to this record and this button to be specific to this record. So how do I do that? Okay, so here what I'm going to write here is I am going to remove this word which is there. Okay, and let me see what is expected in the third. I want HTML attributes. I'm going to put null and let me move on. Okay, so I'm going to give, instead of the route values, what I'm please note the parameters here. This is now highlighted properly. First one is what text. Second one is what is the action name. Third one is controller name. Fourth one is route values. Do you have a specific or different value for every button which is going to be created in this loop? Yes, I have. How do I give that? Let me just give new. Okay, let me just open bracket. I'll put at id, because that's what is passed, is equal to item dot prod id. This is what is going to get passed. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys. All right, so and the next one is that attribute, the HTML attribute. Okay, so let me just pass new HTML attributes is equal to, let me open this. I put at class is equal to, at class is equal to btn hyphen success. Success or whatever you want to give. I'll just give warning. Okay, I'll show you another way. It's much more simpler than this. Don't worry. Okay. Just a minute. I'll take it from here. This class only I'll change it as btn hyphen warning. That's it. Let me go back and try to refresh. Okay, now let me move my mouse. You see that the URL is a little bit different now. Okay, edit, I think you can see the URL at this corner. I'll show it to you later properly. So edit /1, edit /2, which means these buttons are right now changed into, let me show the view source code, that will be better. Okay, so here you can see this product has changed into a proper value, edit /1, and here it's changed into edit /2. It's easier for us to follow this way than the other one. Okay, so remember that. Attributes I'll come and fix later. Okay, let me just remove that right now. Let me not confuse that. Let me just keep it like this. This is enough. Okay, so now let me write the same thing in a simpler way using just a href. That will allow you to use class or your CSS class much faster. Okay, so here href is equal to, we'll have to write it using razor, but other things you can write it quickly. So like btn hyphen danger, because it's a delete button. Okay, and here I'll write the word delete. Okay, and href is equal to, I'll use razor to bring a URL just like how I did below, action. Okay, so here I'm going to pass, first thing we are passing here is the action. Action is delete, sorry, not edit. It's going to be delete. And what is the controller name? Controller name is going to be product. And the last one is route values. Do you have any values to be passed to the route? Yes, I have. All right, same thing which is written above. You can just copy paste that, because same thing we are looking for. Done. Okay, so this is the action. So let me just go back and refresh my page. Let's check how it works. Okay, so you have edit and you have delete. All right, so okay, I think if you are comfortable with this, let's follow this only. It's not a problem, both are fine. I just showed you a simpler way of doing both. Okay, so this the second method will be easier for people who are from HTML background more than the MVC pattern. Okay, so I'll just use the same thing, guys. I can just copy that, paste it on top, and change that delete from delete. I'll just put as edit, so that both will look the same. Only thing is the button class also I'll change from this one to warning. Okay, now with that, let me just go back and see whether it's working properly. Okay, I've put it as delete. The link is still showing as delete, I guess. Okay, here I just need to make it as edit. Done. So now if I refresh, I have edit button and delete button. Okay, let me show you the code what is generated. At the bottom you see that there are two hrefs. Okay, so you're going to product edit one, product delete one. So if you remember in the beginning of the class I showed you that you have controller name, then you have the action name, then the ID if at all you are passing. Here I have to pass because it is expecting an ID to be passed in the controller. Here edit expects an ID to be passed, do not forget that. Okay, so now I have my design ready to take you to edit page. So once you come to edit page, what am I supposed to do? It's very simple. The first time you come to edit page, okay, just like how we had done in the previous programs and all, when you click, please note we had done drop down. You choose a drop down and then I take you to that particular record. Here what I'm going to do is if you are clicking on edit of a particular record, I'm going to retrieve all the details of that particular record and display it in a form. So for that I need this page. So before I go to that page, I need to pull all records of this particular person. Okay, so with that in mind, let me write the code. Okay, let me cut this for a minute. Let me write using product DB entities. Let me name it as DB is equal to new product DB entities. Okay, return view. Now inside this, before you return the view to the user, what am I supposed to do? Okay, so please note I need to fetch all the details. Okay, all the details of that particular user and then pass it to the design or the view. Okay, so how do I write that? Okay, there are two ways to write. So far I have not discussed the simpler way. I've always taken the long way, but first let me write the longer way, then I'll come back to the short way. Okay, so you need to create if I pass a particular ID, you need to fetch one record, one product record. So one product in the table is nothing but one instance of a class. So I'm going to create one instance of a class called product. Okay, is equal to, you know how to write the code by now, from data in db.tbl products, where data dot prod id is equal to whatever ID you have passed. All right, select data and then say dot single. Right, this is the code what we have been learning so far. Now I'm going to show you another way to write this code. Let me just comment this out. Okay, this code I guess everybody is now very much aware of. Okay, so let me just comment this out. All right, now after commenting this out, I am going to write my own code. Okay, so please note this is also another way, but I did not discuss this till now because I wanted you to learn that way more important than this. Okay, so I'm going to call database, call the products and find. There's an inbuilt method called find. Okay, all I need to do is pass the ID and it will fetch me that particular person's record. This is one line of writing that previous 3 lines of code. Okay, this I kept on writing like this because I wanted you to understand this syntax. This is not syntax, this is just an inbuilt function you're just calling. Okay, so database.table.find a record which has this ID. Please note find will return an entity with the given primary key value. This is the primary key which is passed to you. So if I give a primary key value, it will fetch that particular record and store that object here in TBL product. So when you're returning, what am I supposed to return? That product. Not a new instance of a product. Please note here, I had written it as new instance of a product because it will be blank. But when you are opening edit page, your model should not be blank. It should be already having some data. Okay, so I'm going to fetch that also from the model, but what data is there will be returned to the model. So let me create a view for this. Let me add a view. Let's call it as edit only. Let me click on add. Okay, what is the model here being followed? Same thing as previous one. So I'm going to write this project name, that is check MVC dot models dot TBL product. That's the object which I require, because with this object I am going to take all the records, because I've already passed all the records of this particular object through the controller. Please note this. This holds all details of the ID which you have passed. So if you have passed edit/1, that one's product details are stored in this, and that model has been given to me for design. Okay, so all I need to do here is I can copy the code which I've already written in create, because the table is looking the same, right? So I'm going to take from using till this, I'm going to copy that entire thing, put it here below, and edit which product. What product am I going to edit? Okay, so it's very simple. Instead of writing edit product, I'll write the product name itself. Call the model, and then call, sorry, you cannot call like this, guys, because model is C#, right? This is HTML. Now I want to start C#, so I'll put at model dot, okay. Right now I have an object of TBL. Okay, so I can either pull it from the table, or I can even access it here directly from the model as a class. Okay, so if the models is TBL product, what am I supposed to do here? I'm supposed to get prod underscore name. See, you can directly access it from the word called model. All right, so let me just start with that. So you're creating, you're not creating a form. Rather, when you click on submit, I want you to take me to edit only. All right, controller name is product. That's no changes in that. And multi-part form data is still there, because in case the user decides to update the picture, what am I supposed to do? Okay, so that is why I'm keeping the same design as it is. But please note, the code which I copy pasted from there, here, it is going to change a little bit. Okay, but then when I run the program, one just showed me empty text boxes. This program will not show me empty text box, because please note the difference, guys. I want you to understand this very clearly. When you came to this create.cshtml, the model did not have anything. Okay, let me show it again. It did not have anything. I just created a new table object and sent to you. When I create a new instance, this object is right now having values as null. Nothing is there. So you got empty space here when the text boxes came. But when it goes to edit.cshtml, please note we are passing a particular product detail to that particular edit.cshtml. So when I talk to this object already has data. It's not an empty object, it has data. So I'm going to display all those data based on that. So I'll show edit pen or pencil, whatever it is. Okay, and then I'm going to keep the code as it is, because I've already written that, and all will come. Okay, only one thing extra I'm going to do here is there is already an input type, but I want to show what image is already or currently there in my table. So let me just do that. So image is already shown. I want to show the image and then show the option of uploading a new picture. So I'll just show what is already there. It's very simple, like how we have already written there. Okay, let me just press Control space, content. Please choose the folder which is there. File name will come from someplace else. Okay, please remember that. And that images, and this file name will come from at model.prod_pic. Okay, what is the alternate text if the image is not available? Again, at model.prod_name. Okay, and the file size should not be great, so I'll say width equal to 100, height is equal to 100, so that it will not be displayed in the full page, even though the file size is bigger. Okay, so with that, our work here is done. Now this will be input type equal to submit, name is equal to submit, value is equal to add product. So here I'll change it into update product. That's all. Okay, still posted file only, everything is there. Okay, with that, let me just run. Only half we have done. Update part we have not done exactly. All right, let's check whether this is working. So let me go to index and then let me run the project. Okay, so now here when I click on edit, okay, please note what should happen. When I click on edit, I want you to take me to the controller called as product, okay, and the action called edit with the parameter of 1, id as 1. Here if I click, I should take me to the same action, but the parameter is 2. So let me click here and let me open. Let's see what happens. You see that I get a control, but the data is already filled there. Okay, how did the data get filled? Okay, but because I passed it through the model. Okay, I passed data from the controller to the view through the model. 3 people are involved here, but I'm getting the same output what I'm looking for. Okay, so the data is already filled of that particular person. Okay, so let me just click on pencil and see it changes here. It's pencil, what was the amount I gave, and what is the image I uploaded for pencil. Everything is there now. Okay. Now, what if I want to update? When I change something and click on update, what to happen? That's our next target. Okay. So let's go to the next part, and let me go to product controller. Okay. Let's write the edit code. Okay, let me quickly write that. It's the same code as insert. Only one difference is that you have a choice of replacing that already existing image or adding as a new image. I'm going to add a new image if you are updating. If you are not updating, the same image will be retained. Okay, with that in mind, let me write the edit code. Okay, so once you have clicked on, you have given the data and you clicked on submit, what should happen? All right, so let me come to the post part. This is just get part where you're getting all the requirements or all the details of that particular product. Okay, so here I've just commented the syntax. This is what I've been taking so far. This is also another way of writing the same code. Okay, now edit. What are the things I should take? Just like how you have seen create, same two parameters to be taken. One is an object of that class. Second one is HTTP posted file base. Okay, and 1 minute. Okay, I guess it's a mistake. Anyway. Did somebody raise your hands or something? All right, I'll answer that towards the end. Okay, now let me just finish this. Okay, let me keep the same name, posted file. Do not forget that file name should be same, right? So I've got the data which is passed. Edit. Okay, so let's move on. I've got two things here. One, whatever changes they have given to this particular product, also what file he has uploaded. In case he has not uploaded, I'll not do anything. I'll not replace. Okay, so for that part, the first thing I'm going to do here is to check whether the file is there or not. If this is uploaded, for example, I choose edit and I only want to change the quantity and price, not the name and the image. What should I do? If you don't want to change the image, don't write the code for that. Okay, we'll skip that code and go to only updating. So let me write the code for that. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's start with a simple thing called string file name. Okay, I'll create it as file name is equal to blank. Okay, initially, in case you are updating, I'll change it. Okay, so with that, I'll just start with a simple if condition. If this file, okay, if that posted file is equal to or not equal to null. Okay, let me just keep it as not equal to null. What do you mean by that? If something is there inside that posted file, if you're all giving a file to me to upload, then I should do something. Otherwise, just update the data and move on. Updating the data is very, very simple. Okay, so let me just take that. If at all he has given a new file to be updated, what should I do? I'll write string extension, same code as previous guys. Okay, here extension is equal to, I already have imported that, so I'll just call path dot get extension. There's an inbuilt method. Okay, I'll just give posted file dot file name. Give me a file name, I'll give you the extension. I've got the extension. What's next? Okay, you can write that if condition, if extension is equal to JPG, PNG, all the same code what you have written on top, we can be reusing that here. Okay, so I'll take it from here, but not everything, only till here. I'll copy, I'll paste it here. All right, let me close that if condition here. Now, so what should I do? Okay, file name already I've created. So outside, I'm going to just say file name is equal to. Okay, if at all it is JPG or PNG, then take the file name, give the file name like the previous one what we did. Save path is still the same. Posted file, same place. I'm going to upload the new file. Please note, I'm not replacing. I'm creating a new file. Okay, and this data only I'll be storing in the database. Okay, so I'll be storing this in the database. I'll have all your pictures with me, but the first one is the current one will be the one which is there in the database, the name, file name. All right, so I've saved as that same thing. Okay, and here this is not required because I'm not creating a new file, rather I'm updating an already existing record. Okay, please remember that. And let's close the if condition what I've opened. Okay. Now all those things, this what I've written will only get executed if in case you are giving a file for updating. If you are not updating the file but remaining everything you're updating, the next part of the code should get executed. What is the next part of the code? Okay, it's very simple. I'll write using product DB entities. Okay, DB is equal to new product DB entities. Now there is another way to do this, but I'm using the longer way. Okay, I want you to find the shorter way if you want. Okay, but I'm going to just update already existing record. So for that, I need to find what data is available in the current one. So I'm going to create an object of product. Okay, so let me name it as TBL. Okay, this is going to be the new record. Okay, so who is giving me the new record passed as data here? This one. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch all products with respect to that ID what is there in your model. So how do I do that? You know by now, it's a simpler way. Find from what? Product dot prod underscore ID. Now what is this product? What is passed to this method? From that I'll get the ID of the person. Now I've got the ID of the person. All I need to do is call TBL dot prod name is equal to whatever is passed to me dot prod name. Okay, this is what your user has entered in the text box in the form. This is what I am updating now. Okay, so let's move on. TBL dot prod underscore price is equal to from whatever the user has entered in the form dot price. Next one, TBL dot quantity is equal to product dot quantity. Simple. All right, but now the picture takes a big turn. Okay, because if at all the file name is still blank, I don't want it to do anything. What if the file name is blank? If the file name is blank, which means you have not posted a file. If you have not posted a file, I need not update the picture name, image name I need not update. So I'm going to write an if condition here saying file name. Okay, if file name is not equal to, so I'll put not file name dot equals blank. Okay, please understand that if condition what I've written. I just mean that if the file name is not equal to blank. Okay, if it is equal to blank, what does it mean? If it is equal to blank means you have not uploaded a file, so you can just continue. But in case if it is not equal to blank, which means you have uploaded a file, now I want the file name. So I'll take the TBL dot pick product pick is equal to file name what you have created. Done. Okay, after this is done, all you need to do is make sure that you save the changes. That's it. And then return back to main page. My work here is done with edit also. Okay, let me run the project. You cannot open edit directly, guys. I think I clicked on controller. Okay, so it's not a problem, but you cannot open the file directly from edit slash file name. You cannot call like that. You should call it through the proper channel. Okay, you cannot call edit without a ID because it is mandatory. So let me just call product. Let me call the product index first so that I'll get the full structure. Okay, here. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on pen, edit it. Okay, so I'm going to make it I'll let the name be as it is, or I'll just put Reynolds pen. Okay, I'll put the price as 8 and the quantity as 250. I'm changing everything, guys. Okay, I'm going to change a file. Okay, let me just find another file. Okay, I've chosen a new file and then let me click on update. Okay, if at all the program is right, it should take me to different place. Let me see what is the message. Set to an instance of an object. Let me check where the error, things gone wrong. The product ID is missing. Okay, so let me just go back and let me find out. See, in the form, normally when you update, please remember while inserting, I don't require an ID. The product ID is not required. But when it comes to updating, you require the ID. You have to have an ID, even though it is auto-generated. For updating, you require the ID, which is not there in my table. So to fix that, let me just do that also. Okay, so I need to add ID, but I don't want to show that to the user. Okay, we have done this in I think in JSP we had done this. Okay, we wanted to show for the database I wanted the ID, but I didn't want to show to the user. Okay, so what I did was basically I just put a hidden form field. I don't know how many of you remember this, but I'm just going to use a hidden form field here also. I'm going to say HTML dot hidden for. Okay, hidden for, I need to pass only a few things. Number one, I'm not going to display this to the user, right? So I need not even give any CSS style, nothing. I just call model goes to model dot prod underscore ID. That's it. So what happens here is the ID is now passed as part of the form. So ID is set. Since I did not set the ID here, it came as 0. That's why it could not update it. So now let me refresh or run this project once again. And please note, I clicked on edit and clicked on play. My project will throw an error because you're trying to access edit directly, which is going to throw an error. Okay, because you're not supposed to do that. Okay, so let me just put /1. That is fine because I have a parameter passed. Okay, so you have taken this one with the parameter. So let me just go in the right way. I'll just say index. Let me open this. Nothing has updated because my program threw an exception. So try catch came out. All right, so let me click on edit. I'm going to change that. I'll just make it as pen 8 rupees 250, and I'll change the image to something and click on update. Okay, you can see that the update data is updated. The pen's name is changed, price is changed, quantity is changed, image also has changed. All right, so I have done this as edit part. So edit is also working. The last part for today is delete. All right, so now what we are going to do with delete is when you click on delete, please understand that when you click on delete, I want you, according to the controller, they have given you a different method for that. You can see there are two methods will be there with delete. One is to retrieve all the records of the particular person and show, are you sure you want to delete? And then actually to delete. Okay, but I am going to shorten it into one method. Okay, so you give me an ID, I'll delete that record. That's all. Okay, so how to do that? Let me write the logic, then I'll come back to the block. Okay, so I'm going to say using product DB entities, DB is equal to new product DB entities. And here I'm going to call, okay, let me put that return view, do not forget that. And let me just put db dot tbl products dot remove. Okay, remove what? You need to pass an object of the table which you want to remove. Okay, so for that I have two lines. Okay, but I'm writing it in one line, db dot tbl products dot find with whatever ID you get. Okay, please note I have nested it. Okay, what do you want to remove? You want to remove an object of TBL product which will match this ID. Okay, this code what I am highlighting will return to me a record which will have this particular object. Okay, and I said remove that from database. And after this is done, do not forget, okay, this is very important, save changes. Okay, now after you do that, I don't want you to show me the same page once again. I want you to go back or open that index page once again. That you have a code here. Let me just open that and I'll put it here. Return, redirect to action index. Take me to the index page immediately after you have deleted it, which means refresh the index page if you're already there. All right, so let me do that. Let me create, I'm not going to create a new view, guys. Please note for delete, because it's a simple operation, I don't want to create a view. I want to rather tackle it from the design view. What you mean in the index page, I'm going to show the delete button, right? So once you click on the delete button, I would like to ask the user, are you sure, using JavaScript? Okay, and once he clicks on yes, I want to take you to this delete method with ID as whatever you have chosen. Okay, so with that in mind, just hold on. Okay, so with that in mind, let me just write the code here. It's very simple. I'm going to just write one more. I'm going to add a small block of code here called on click is equal to. Okay, I'm going to write return confirm. Please note that is HTML, guys, JavaScript, sorry. Okay, return confirm. I'm going to say, are you sure you want to delete? Okay, let me just put the product name there. If you want to put the product name, just put at in front. You get the idea, right? So I call item dot product name. So what it will ask, if you are trying to delete pen, it will say, are you sure you want to delete pen? Okay, and then close that. I'll close it. Okay, so what does it happen? Basically, what I've written here is once you click on this hyperlink, okay, I'll ask you whether are you sure to delete this. If you click on yes, I'll return true. If you click on false, I'll not do anything. I'll just keep quiet. So if you click on yes and if I return true, where will you go? You'll go to the delete function of the product controller with the ID as whatever you have given. So if I go to the delete function with the ID as whatever you have chosen, what will happen? It will delete that particular record from the table and take you back to index page. Let's check whether it works or not. Okay, so let me just open product. Okay, so you know how the editing was working. Now let me click on delete. Let's see what happens. When you click on delete, I get a message. I get an alert dialog from JavaScript saying, are you sure you want to delete pencil? This is the product name. Okay, and if I click on cancel, nothing happens because it returns false. If it returns false, it will not proceed with its operation. But when I click on OK, what should happen? Just think what is happening. When you click on OK, it is going to call an action in controller called product called delete. Okay, and with the ID which is passed. Okay, let me move your mouse there. Please just look at the bottom of the screen here. Okay, you see delete /2, which means delete the second record. I'm passing the ID as 2. Okay, so when I click on OK, that ID gets deleted. That particular ID based product is getting deleted, and this page, index page, is called once again. When I do so, that old record is now deleted. It's not there because I'm getting the new list. Okay, without that deleted record. So I've got this information. All right, so this is CRUD operation using ASP.NET MVC. Okay, and we have used entity framework along with it. So wherever I wrote entity framework code, you can also write SQL based connection code or link to SQL code, whatever you want. Okay, but entity framework works more smoothly with MVC because lines of code make sense with us. The models make sense to this particular project. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys. All right. So before I wind up for today, let me also show you that scaffolding which I told you. All right, because in the next class, all I'll be doing is I'll convert the same program into a shopping cart because I already have products detail here. All I'll do is I'll just convert this into a shopping cart. But before that, let me also show you without even doing this. Okay, what if I would like to create a project? Okay, let me just quickly do that. Let me create a new project. Okay, it's from web application. By the way, this is only for scaffold demo. I'm going to put scaffold demo. Okay, I'm going to create a new scaffold demo with that particular project. Okay, so I'm going to choose MVC. Click on create. Okay, the reason why I'm doing this, guys, whatever I did right now, but please note that the project which I did right now requires a lot of modification. So you cannot use direct scaffolding. But imagine a CRUD operation, what we have been doing without file upload. Without file upload, if you want to do CRUD operation, my MVC scaffold can work it without even writing one line of code. We can do a full CRUD operation. I'll show it to you now. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me quickly create one table. Please do bear with me, guys. I'll finish it as soon as possible. SQL Server Database. Let me name it as BooksDB, just for understanding. Okay. It should go to app_data folder anyway. It will automatically put. Otherwise, it's better you only put it there. Okay, so let me just add a new table. Okay, I'll keep only 4 or 5 records, not more. Okay, so I'll name this table as TBL books. This program, what I'm doing right now, doesn't require one line of code, guys. Okay, it just requires your knowledge of ADO.NET entity and the scaffolding idea in ASP MVC. Okay, so I'm going to put it as book_ID. Let it be integer only, and book_name varchar. I'll put it as varchar max. No nulls allowed. Next one is book_author. I'll put it as varchar again. Okay, some name should be in restriction. Okay, so last one, book_ISBN, or I'll just put varchar again, or let me just put integer. Sorry. Int, not null. Next one is book_published here. Okay, just put int. That's it. Okay, so I have only some records here. Let me also make this auto increment. Okay, done. Okay, so I've given TBL books. Let me just click on update. One work is done. Second work is to create the model. So let me just right click, add ADO entity data model. Let me name it as books model. Let's run. Click on finish. Okay, so once this is done, just choose table, click on finish, and once everything is over here, please note all I am going to do is create a controller, and whatever operation we want to do can be easily manipulated without writing one line of code. Let me show you how that is happening. All you need to do is go to the solution explorer and create a controller. Okay, but this time I'll be choosing MVC 5, recreate and write operations with view. The third option which I showed you, which I said I'll take it towards the end. Okay, I'll do that quickly. And once you give that, please note, without writing one line of code, my entire CRUD operation is taken care by the system, because that is standard operations. Alright, so system already has a template and its scaffold will be available for us. Let me just show you quickly. Let me right click on controllers. Let me add a new controller, but this time please choose this one, and please remember this only works with entity framework, not with link to SQL, not with SQL server. This works with any database what you want to work with. The third one specifically using entity framework. Let me click on add. Now look at the structure. First question it is asking me is, where is the model located? Okay, let me open that and look for the model. Okay, please note, inside scaffold demo, that's my project name, dot models, you have TBL book. That's the model class. And what is the context of your data? It is my books DB entities. That's the model's data context. Okay, so you're going to create views, you're going to use everything, and the controller's name is going to be, I'm going to remove that TBL and put book controller. Okay, I'm going to name it as book controller and click on add. That's it. Okay, that's the error is because I think I've not built. Okay, just build the project so that this is aware for my system. Okay, and once the building is done, let me just go back and try to do the same thing once again. I'm adding a new controller. Okay, using entity framework. Model class, I'm going to choose TBL book. Entity is DB entities, and the controller name is books controller. Let me click on add. Now the scaffolding is happening, guys. Please note, once the scaffolding is done, I'm going to run the project. I'm not going to show what is getting generated. Let me run the project and show you how efficient the work is already done, what I'm looking for. Okay, the scaffolding, what is happening right now is generating view and the methods for that particular view. Okay, let me just run this. I'll not show the code what is generated, because the code generated might be a little bit here and there, but still you'll get the full functionality what you're looking for. I'll show you that quickly. Please note, I've not written any lines of code so far. Okay, in order to retrieve, update, insert, nothing. I'm not done any code for that. But let's see how they have given me a form in which I can already have these operations ready. Only thing is I need to modify accordingly. So once the localhost is open, I'm going to call the books controller, because by default it calls home controller. I'm going to call books controller. Okay, it will call the index page of the books controller. Please note, already there is a form called something like this: book name, author, ISBN, year. Okay, and I have a small hyperlink, say create new. Let me click on create new. It's asking me what is the book name. Okay, let me just give C#. Okay, author Ryan. Okay, ISBN, I'll just put some number, year 2015, and then click on create. Please note, none of this code I wrote. Okay, let me reduce the number because it's an integer. Let me click on create. Here, a record has been created. Okay, so I can create another record. ISBN 456789, and year is 2020. I'll create a book. Okay, so you see, I didn't write any code for this. I got all these input without even writing code. Now I can click on edit. Okay, let me click on edit and show you what is showing me. It is showing me only those records. What do you want me to edit? I can just write C# programming and click on save. It's now updated. Okay, I can get only details of that particular book like this, only details. Okay, let me go back to the list, and when you click on delete, it's not showing JavaScript, but rather it is just displaying all the records once again and saying, are you sure you want to delete this? If you click on delete, that record is deleted and it's showing back to me. Okay, so this is scaffolding. All right, a template scaffolding what we have using ASP.NET MVC as well as entity framework. Okay, so this is done, but then please note it is not as efficient as you want. Okay, because it is not book name, author name, nothing like that. It's just put the database column here. So how do I modify it? Pretty simple. Okay, just go back to your Solution Explorer, open views, you have a books view. In that one, you have index.cshtml, open that. Okay, see where they have given th for model name, remove that and put display name. What do you want to display there? Okay, so here I am going to put book name. Okay, I'll put author name. Here I'll put ISBN. Here I'll put year of publishing. Okay, that's it. Now when you go back and refresh it, you get proper value. Done. Okay, if you don't want details here, you can remove that hyperlink from there. That's it. You have a full choice if you have understood how this project works. Okay, so by this I did not write any lines of code. I just got a full-fledged working demo. Okay, if you just check the controller's code, you can see index, it returns that as a list. Details, what should I do? Okay, to create a detail, what am I supposed to do? Okay, and editing, what am I supposed to do? Deleting, all those code is written here, just like how we had written, but it is generated. This is called scaffolding. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys. All right, so with this I'll stop for today, guys.